everyone, it's Heather from Heather Travels with my daughter Megan.
Hi.
And we are making another video on her New Orleans trip. And in today's video, Megan is going to tell us about her walking tour of the St. Louis II Cemetery and the French Quarter. So I'm just going to turn it over to Megan. Megan, go ahead and tell us all about it.
Okay, so the French Quarter tour, the what?
Wasn't the cemetery and the French Quarter walking tour all one thing?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay, did you have a tour guide?
Yes.
Was it from a particular organization, and do you remember the name of the organization?
I don't think anyone mentioned anything about that, but I'm sure it must have been because all the tour guides came at once, and there were a bunch of separate tour groups.
Did you get your tour guide's name?
Yes, I did. His name was David. He was very nice. He
Okay.
had a festive Mardi Gras outfit on.
Ah.
Lots of sparkles, sequins,
How
beads.
many people were you broken up into in your groups?
It was my little chaperone group, which was 8 people, and then I think 2 more of those. So
24 people?
24 people, yeah.
Okay. And you started, where did you start?
We started outside a little guest center building, I think it was.
Okay.
And actually, me and some of my friends got coffee and hot chocolate and treats in there. There was a gift shop and a map of New Orleans. It was an interactive map. We actually, after the graveyard, before we went through the rest of the French Quarter, we stopped at the map, and he could press little buttons on it, and lights came up on the map. I think it was a map of the Hurricane Katrina stuff.
Okay.
So it had like where the pump towers were,
Okay.
and where the water flooded up to.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. Okay, so first we walked a little ways from the guest center, maybe like 2 or 3 blocks. Very nice town area, busy traffic. One thing we noticed, there were a lot of mule-drawn carriage tours.
Not horses.
No, not horses, mules.
Okay.
Because the horses, it was too hot for the horses down in New Orleans. So we actually asked about this, and he told us it's too hot for horses, but mules can work all day. And the mules actually only work 5 days a week, while the drivers work 7.
So the mules get 2 days off, but the drivers have to work every day?
Yeah.
So they use a different mule?
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
And I guess the mules got pretty nice accommodations, very nice housing and stuff.
Okay.
Whatever. But anyway, so first we went to the graveyard, and we actually sort of had to check into the graveyard. I guess there was, there might have been a maximum capacity because they counted us all as we went in. There was a little tent at the entrance where they counted us all.
Were there any funerals in progress when you were there?
There were not. I didn't even think of that.
Okay. Are people still being buried there today?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I don't think that that's a place where there would be a funeral.
Oh, but like the burial ceremony, would they do that there? Or not?
I don't know what the burial ceremony. We didn't talk about that.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, so there were 5 different types of graves. I don't think I remember them all, but I'll try my best. First of all, interesting fact, Nicolas Cage's grave is in there for when he dies.
He's already purchased it?
He's already purchased it.
Why does he want it in New Orleans?
It's a very long story. On the ghost tour, actually, I got more information about this, so I'm going to go a little bit into that.
Okay.
Nicolas Cage bought a mansion in New Orleans, downtown New Orleans, that we visited. We didn't go inside. We're not allowed to go inside. Someone owns it now, too.
He doesn't own it anymore?
No.
Okay.
It was taken from him because apparently...
He went bankrupt.
He went bankrupt.
Right.
So he owned this mansion, the Lalaurie Mansion. Look it up. It's really cool. The story behind it was very gruesome, so just a little bit of warning there. But it was a really cool story, and definitely probably true. I don't think someone could have made all that up. So there was, basically, he owned the mansion for a little while, but there's this curse where you can't live in the mansion. No one has stayed in the mansion for more than a year, and if they try, bad things start happening, basically. I can't remember exactly more in depth of that, but anyway, I guess the one way to solve this curse was to buy a grave in New Orleans and, like, have it there for you, so you just be buried in New Orleans, I guess. I didn't really understand.
So is he still going to be buried there even though he doesn't own the mansion in New Orleans anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He wants to break the curse. He doesn't want bad things happening to him.
Oh.
So it's a very interesting grave. It's pure white marble. It's
Did you take a picture of it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so we'll put a picture in here.
It's actually it's been struck by lightning 2 times because it's quite tall. You can see the cracks. It's quite tall and it's in a pyramid shape.
Oh.
And it has Latin written on it. Someone told us what the Latin means, but I can't remember. Can't remember what it says. But maybe if you can read Latin, you'll be able to read it when we show the picture of it. There are also, on a lot of the graves, there are certain markings that are, like, all superstitious and stuff. Markings that people have made. There's this one grave in particular, we'll also put a picture of it here. It had a lot of X's on it, and actually I knew about these X's ahead of time and was actually looking for them because I'd read, it was actually a Magic Treehouse guidebook a long time ago about ghosts, and there was a whole section about New Orleans and what's her name? Laveau? I don't know. Oh, Marie Laveau. Voodoo witch back in the day, I guess. And her grave, our tour guide didn't think that it was actually in there, but there are a lot of copies of it, fake Marie Laveau graves. And I think this grave that had all the X's on it was one of those. It's just like superstitious and stuff to keep bad spirits away.
Putting the X's on it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, on Nicolas Cage's grave, it was, I guess it's superstition, if you kiss the grave, it's good luck.
Okay, I think somebody made that up.
So there were a lot of lipstick marks on it. It was gross. None of us kissed it.
Okay.
Okay. If I can remember some of the types of graves. One of the types of graves that we saw right away when we walked into the graveyard was, I can't remember what they were called. Maybe something oven?
Okay.
I don't know. They were all lined up on one wall along the side of the graveyard. They were very small, and they were just basically like shelves, drawers almost.
Oh, okay.
All the graves were drawers, and the thing with the graves was you could fit a lot of people in there because you get a grave for a year and a day, and then they like shoved the drawer. I didn't understand this part, but they like pushed the drawer in, and your remains fell to the bottom of the grave site, and then they put a new body in.
Oh.
So those can hold like a lot of.
So they just keep
bodies.
putting fresh bodies on top?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
So, there's a lot more in depth of that and like the warranties of the graves that I am not that not educated enough to get too much into. But yeah, basically a lot of people invaded the graves, like when you didn't have a grave or you didn't have a family grave, they just put you in another family's grave where that family agreed that other people who aren't in their family can be buried there too.
Did you learn something about, isn't there something because of New Orleans being below sea level?
Oh, yeah. All the graves are 6 feet above ground. They're all very tall, except for a few newer ones. Newer ones? I don't know. Maybe they're older. In the back. We also have a picture of one of those that I'll post here.
Okay.
They were sunk into the ground because the ground back there, I guess, is very uneven and mushy. Because basically, we were standing on a swamp the entire time we were in New Orleans. So it was a very famous grave, famous person, I guess. Can't remember the name. It's on the grave. There's actually a cool quote on the grave, too. Can't remember that, but it's also in the picture.
Okay,
visible
we'll put it
in the
in
picture. But yeah, the graves were like sunk quite deep into the ground. At first, I thought it was just how they chose to bury it, but then we got over there and he's like, no, it's sunk. And it's
So they didn't build it that way?
No.
It sunk after they had put it... Oh.
sunk a good couple inches. And
Okay.
the grave, in particular, that we're going to put a picture of, is actually quite uneven on one side. You can see where the marble itself has sunk a bit.
Okay.
Because of the layers of the grave. Okay. There was also... there were a lot of statues, of course. There were also a lot of charms and stuff, like, scattered around the graves for good luck and, I guess, celebratory.
So a
Like-
lot of
like putting-
superstition and...
Yeah, definitely. Like,
Okay.
it was sort of, as I gathered, similar to putting a wreath of flowers or
Oh, okay.
burying flowers at someone's grave. And there were a lot of flowers, too, of course. But, actually, it was all, like, cobblestone paths. So all the flowers were in vases. I found that quite interesting.
Oh.
Are the people going to come back and get their vases? Who knows? But yeah, there were a lot of little charms, those plastic Mardi Gras beads,
Okay.
figurines, coins, lots of stuff. In the middle of the graveyard, there was this huge cylinder-shaped grave. Lots of people could fit in there. Can't remember the exact number. 80 something maybe.
Oh, wow.
It was a lot, but it was a very big grave. Graves all around, and
It's like a mausoleum where they put
yes,
people
yes,
from...
a
Okay.
mausoleum,
Okay.
exactly. More drawers on the outside.
Okay.
There was actually a bronze, I think, door that led to the center of it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think people go in there because there's bodies in there, but yeah, so that was kind of cool. There was a statue and the name of the Italian architect who designed the grave, and our tour guide told us that it was very ironic because the architect who designed the grave was the first to be buried in it.
Oh.
So, that was weird.
Was that planned?
No.
Oh.
I don't know.
He just happened to die after they
He
finished
just
it or
happened to
something?
die after they finished it.
Okay.
Okay, moving on from the graveyard. The French Quarter tour was very intriguing. Busy streets, lots of people, Mardi Gras decorations everywhere. Got some more pictures.
Mardi Gras is actually March 5th this year. That's this coming Tuesday from when we're... Mardi Gras, if you don't know, is French for Fat Tuesday. And it's a celebration of... It's a feasting day before Ash Wednesday in Catholic tradition. Ash Wednesday is a solemn day of repentance when Catholics will go, and you'll see people with the little ash on their foreheads because they'll go to church and the priest will put the ash to remind them to be, repentant of their sins. And so the day and that's the first day of Lent. Lent is the weeks leading up to Easter and celebration of the resurrection of Christ. And so you're supposed to be penitent during Lent. And so Mardi Gras is the day before Lent starts, and so you have this big feasting, celebration, and drink and eat and all this stuff because now you're going to have to go be all penitent for Lent for the next however many days it is. So
we are actually celebrating Mardi Gras, making beignets in French class, so that's going to be fun. More beignets. Okay, what was I talking about?
The French Quarter walking tour.
Oh yeah, French Quarter walking tour. Okay, so there were a lot of historical buildings, Mardi Gras decorations, lots of pictures there. Did you make a video with just pictures?
No, I decided not to do, but I can put some in here
Yeah.
while we're talking. I'll put in some pictures from the French Quarter walking tour.
Yeah, I'll actually point out specific buildings that we can put pictures in while I'm talking.
Yeah, so tell me what,
Yeah, okay.
and then you show me which picture and I'll add it.
One thing about the buildings that I remember clearly, we learned a lot of similar things on the ghost tour and the French Quarter walking tour, surprisingly.
Was it the same tour company that did both tours or not?
No, the ghost tour one was specifically ghost tours.
Who was your tour guide for that one? Because we don't have pictures
I
of
can't
that.
remember, but he was very nice, very friendly, talkative. Yeah.
Could you see it? I mean, she didn't take any pictures because it was dark.
I didn't take any pictures because I was scared of what was going to show up on my camera.
Ghosts.
Oh, yeah. Our
But
tour guide actually showed us a couple scary pictures. One was, I don't really know if I believe this one. I'm not really one to believe in ghosts, but the stories he told us were true, so those were actually, like, scary and chilling.
if you didn't watch the other video, which I'll put a link right here to her overall trip report, she said that the ghost tour was not child friendly at
Definitely
all.
not.
She said it was very
Do not
scary, very violent.
Anyone under 13 on that.
The stories are disturbing. So
Very.
she felt scared, and so
Yeah.
if teenagers feel that, did other kids feel that way too?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah.
what did the adults think of it?
I'm not sure. My chaperone took a lot of pictures, but she didn't capture anything. Some of my peers, other students, actually captured weird lights and stuff, but I don't know. I still think that probably has something
It's
to do with
science.
the weather or something.
Okay, but so you had some overlap though between
Yes.
the ghost tour
One
and the French
of
Quarter
the
tour.
things we learned on both tours, this is slightly inappropriate, so viewer discretion advised. One thing we learned about on both tours were Romeo spikes. Romeo spikes were basically metal spikes that were put on balconies, those poles that hold balconies up, any wall, because apparently back in the old day, there was a lack of women or something, and so men would climb over walls and up balcony poles to visit their mistresses, and parents of these women did not like this at all.
So they put these there to
So
stop
they
them?
started putting up these Romeo spikes, later named because when you went over the wall or up the balcony, you went over a Romeo and you came back a Juliet. If you understand that, then good
okay.
for you. I'm not going to explain it. Because they were hurrying to get down. Okay. After we learned about that, that was the first thing on the French Quarter walking tour, basically. As we went further into the square, more stories arose. Lots of performance art stories. I don't remember actually many of them. I think I stopped paying attention about halfway through the tour because I was tired and bored and it was hot there.
How far back did the history of the French court, go?
Very far.
1700s, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Before the United States had even bought it in the Louisiana Purchase.
Yes, all the way back to...
Okay. I mean, would you recommend the walking tour? How long was it?
It was a good hour.
I mean, just total with the cemetery and everything, or?
No,
I feel like
I think the cemetery was an hour by itself, maybe.
But was it the same guide for the cemetery?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. I wasn't paying attention to the time. I wasn't looking at my phone or anything.
Okay. You don't wear a watch.
Aside from taking pictures. So I'm not sure exactly how long it was. It was long, but it wasn't actually that far of a distance. We stopped a lot, like every block. We stopped and talked about stuff.
Okay.
So I think that's basically it.
But would you recommend it for people to do a French Quarter walking tour? Okay. Which did you like better, the cemetery part or the...
The cemetery, honestly, just because
really
of the history. I guess the history of that and all the different types of graves, learning about certain stuff in the cemetery was pretty interesting. Oh, we actually learned, I'm pretty sure that cemetery was called St. Louis 2, because he told us how St. Louis 1 was deep in the center of the city, and actually it was used as a grave site way long ago, and it was only recently discovered because of flooding, and remains drifted to the surface. That one was underground. Now they have graves above ground
because of the...
Louis
Okay,
too.
got it. Okay, interesting. Do you remember how far back the graves went in St. Louis too?
It was a very tight square.
But I mean, how date-wise?
Date-wise. Oh, there were 1700s in there.
Oh, wow. Okay, so but are there still people being buried there today?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, but if you look at pictures of the graves that I've taken, they date back to 1700s.
Oh, wow. For the walking tour, would you say could anybody do it? Like, people of different abilities?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
It's flat.
It's very...
There's
it's not flat. He actually told us, no hills.
Okay.
But he actually told us something like all the hills are in our sidewalks and all the valleys are in our streets. Or something like that. There were a lot of sidewalk bumps.
Is there cobblestones and
bumps
and things?
It's all cobblestone.
Could children do it?
Children could do it.
Could senior citizens, though, that are with limited mobility do it? What about, like, my mom sometimes, she had her knee replaced.
Yeah. Grandma could do it.
Could she do it? Okay.
Yeah. I think...
What about people in scooters?
Oh, people in scooters could do it.
It's
It's not that much of a walking... The bumps in the sidewalk aren't that bad. It's not that far. We went to the grave site. The grave site was one tight square. We walked around once. And then we went back to the visitor center. That's the word.
Yeah.
I cannot think tonight. And we went straight along one road, and then turned right into the
So you
coterie
weren't
was
covering
right
a
there.
huge distance?
No, not at all.
Okay, got it.
Just maybe a couple blocks.
And you don't have any idea what
it was less than a mile. Definitely less than a mile.
You don't have any idea what the name of the tour company was?
No.
Or how much this tour would cost someone normally?
No idea.
Because this was included, all of these things were included in her package price that for the whole trip. So we're not able to give you a breakdown of how much each component costs. So that's one thing. Sorry about that, folks. But I mean, I'm sure if you looked up, New Orleans French Quarter walking tours or something, you probably will find multiple companies that would do it. And like later when we talk about like the World War II Museum, the Natchez, I'll put screenshots to their websites so you can see where to go to get the information that you
could
need.
also put links in the description.
Yeah, I could put links in the description below. Oh, that's true. I could do that. I always forget to do the links in the description below because I just like doing this. Oh, I have a question. Can they see cards on mobile? If you're watching YouTube on your phone, can you see them and click on them? Okay, I was worried about that because I tend to do those, but I watch most of my YouTube videos on my computer, not my phone.
I watch all YouTube on my phone.
So,
it shows up fine.
Okay, cool. All right, well, thank you, Megan, for joining us
half
today.
an hour of us talking.
Yep. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to have upcoming videos on the World War II Museum, the Riverboat Natchez, Oak Alley. Do you want to do one in Oak Alley?
I'm not sure if we're going to do one in Oak Alley just because I wasn't feeling good that day, so I wasn't really paying attention much.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to tack a few pictures from Oak Alley, which is a southern plantation that you can visit.
The trees were amazing.
I will put those at the end of this video with a little bit of jazzy music for you. And then, but she did go to Oak Alley. That's someplace that you can visit. There was a guided tour of the big house.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could just walk around the grounds. A nice example of a southern plantation, if you want to see that. It is about an hour drive west of the city of New Orleans.
It was quite a long ways to get there.
Yeah. And then, so World War II Museum, Riverboat Natchez, and am I forgetting anything?
I don't think we should do the theater because we were just in
we
and out
talked
of
about
there.
that in the other one. So, I think that would be it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, the swamp tour.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, definitely.
So we'll have 3 more
tour.
videos coming up. The swamp tour, the World War II Museum, and the Riverboat Natchez. And that'll be it for the New Orleans series. So thank you guys for joining us. Watch for those other videos coming up. And thanks, Megan.
Thanks.
Safe travels, everyone.
Safe travels.
Wildfire get away.